All right, I'm gonna check out the Springfield Hellcat today. This is the original Hellcat with the standard 11 round mag and the 13 round mag there. Big thanks to my buddy John at Boomstick Revenge for loaning the Hellcat today for the review and for letting me use the range. So I'm a little late to the game on this one, but I've been really wanting to try one of these out. I've actually shot, I think, half a mag through one about a year or two ago. Somebody I knew had one and was out shooting at their place, and they let me try it for a second. And from what I recall, I really liked it. You can see your sight picture there. Those are night sights, so your front glows in the dark there. As most of you know by now, the ergonomics on these things are great. Even with the 11 round mag, no doubt due to that extension there, the little pinky extension, you can get all three fingers on there. So even with the little 11 rounder in there, I believe that's the 11 rounder. Yep. At least if you don't have massive hands, you can get a full grip with just the 11 round mag. And then with the 13 round there, it extends it even further. It's honestly not a whole lot longer, but I think it's because they put that little piece on there that extends it. It's about the same length, honestly. The 13 rounder feels just a hair longer there. But ergonomics are great. This thing's real comfortable to hold, especially for a micro 9mm. The grip texture on these things are awesome, so it's not going to slip while firing, because everybody knows the little micro 9's got increased recoil. I believe they all came optics ready. This one certainly is. Those are the factory sights. You got your little port there so you can see if you have a loaded chamber. Nothing on this side. The mag release is switchable from one side to the other, but the rest of your controls are on the left side. And it looks like you got an itty bitty little tack rail up there too for a lighter laser or what have you. So as with most little carry pistols like this, no manual safety. Some have them, some don't, but this one's without. You do have your little trigger safety right there. And I gotta say, this trigger is definitely feeling better than a Glock or an M&P. It doesn't have quite the amount of creep or sponginess as those, so a lot more crisp break. Got a trigger gauge here. We'll get a weight on it, but it feels about the same to me. I don't know, like 5 something. We'll check real quick. For the life of me, I could not get an accurate read on the trigger, so I've been difficulty getting it fitting between the trigger guard there and with the safety blade in the way and whatnot. I could not get a good read on it. They were kind of just all over the place, but I've seen anywhere advertised as low as like 5.5 pounds. Apparently some of them were like 10 pounds when they came out, so I don't know if that was just a break-in thing or early release thing or what have you, but like I said, it felt like about 5.5 pound range to me. And the previous example, as I mentioned earlier, that I'd fired, it felt about the same as well. Anyways, I've been real excited to shoot this thing more than the partial mag I've done and do a full review on it and whatnot, especially because see how it compares to all the other micro 9s I've been testing out on the channel lately, and I might have a side-by-side comparisons coming up with this as well, but today we're just reviewing the Hellcat on its own here. So we'll get started. I'm going to start out here. It's 12 yards to this target, not really going for accuracy or anything. I'm just going to send a few on it to see where it's printing, see where my hold needs to be. Then we got this half-scale silhouette out there. Got my 16-inch gong at 50 yards, and even further back, if we're capable, half-scale silhouette there at 75 yards. Alright, let's go see where I was impacted. I'm shooting that target on the left there. And, okay, we just had these previous little 22 holes in there. So it looks like 9mm, 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 and I don't know what the heck's going on. I have to get my bigger target down here. Alright, we're still 12 yards here, guys. Man, it's a windy one today. Okay, they're going low on me, it looks like. Slightly left, so I was putting the very top of the blade just here, so my front dot was about like this, and that's about where they're hitting, only they're slightly off to the left for me. So I'm gonna try the silhouette at 25 yards. So he was saying, and I've heard this a lot from other people as well, that this thing's pretty snappy. It's more snappy than some of the other micro 9mm, and I kind of see what they're talking about, but it's more of like a shock to the palm. But the slide, it returns back on target real quick. So while it is real snappy and you feel kind of like a shock through your palm and your bones and whatnot, it gets back on target real quick. So that's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, I feel a little more like snap and shock through my hand than some other micro 9s I've been shooting. But unlike some of those where I'm just flinging them everywhere, because once it starts going I can't see the sights anymore because the muzzle flop is crazy. This one actually, for me at least, it's staying pretty level and it gets back on target real quick. So I am feeling that extra shock in my palm, but the muzzle flip and whatnot, it's not too bad. Typically I try for 75 yards out there. But with the sights being so far off, we were like 2 or 3 inches low at 12 yards there and about 2 inches off to the left. So out there at further distances, it's magnified substantially. To hit that at 25 as having to aim at the top right shoulder, and then my gong there at 50, I was actually aiming off to the top right edge of it just to get those center impacts on it. So it'd be pretty pointless to go for 75 there. I'd probably miss most of them, and I'd probably have to hold like a foot off to the right. I was looking at these sights. They are adjustable, but you're going to need a tap and punch or a sight pusher if you don't want to mar that up to slide it left or right to adjust that. As far as the being low thing goes, there ain't really much you can do about that. But it's not so much that it's low, it's more of a center hold. Basically the bullets are going right where that green dot is. Instead of being a 6 o'clock hold or a center clock, they're going where that green dot is. So I was holding on this kind of like that, and they're going right where that green dot is. But they're definitely off to the left by a few inches, even at 12 yards there. So further out it's even worse, which again is fixable because they're windage adjustable. Considering that and having to use the Kentucky windage that I did, I'm actually pretty impressed, because 50 yards was pretty easy, even though I was having to aim off the top right edge of the target there. I was getting hits no problem once I figured that out. Those were pretty easy shots at 50 yards, even with the Kentucky windage. So I actually really like this thing. I mean, most people do like them, but like I said, the ergos are great. The grip is fantastic. Can't beat the capacity. Well, nowadays you might be able to, but when this thing came out, you couldn't get anything smaller that held more rounds. I actually really like these sights too. They're kind of innovative, and I've not really seen anything else with sights like that, but I really like them. Good quick target acquisition, and they line up well. Give you a good sight picture while you're shooting and whatnot, and rapid fire too. I'm not losing the sights, like I said. As I said, I did notice the extra shock, but it's kind of just like, or snappiness or whatever, as some would say, but I'm not getting the snappiness like the muzzle flip. I'm just getting kind of like more of a shock through the palm of my hand, and like I said, it stays pretty flat for me while shooting, especially rapid fire. It's not bouncing all over the place like others. So certainly met expectations. I'll have to pit it against, in a later video, my GX4 here, because I'm really liking this thing. I put this head to head with the P365 and I was really impressed. So this is definitely, I would say, with the ones I've experienced so far, definitely top of the list for me. I'm going to be trying out the Shield Plus here coming up. But so far, this is definitely at top of the list for me for a Micro 9, so we'll have to do a comparison against the GX4 and also the P365. And then I'm assuming I'm going to really like the Shield Plus here too, so that might be a future comparison video as well. Got the Max 9 here as well, but this one's just not for me. This is actually his, and I got mine here too with all the upgrades. I don't want to spoil anything because I've done 2 or 3 comparisons now with the Max 9, and I've had to do all these Galloway upgrades just to where I feel like the Max 9 can compete with the others. But I'm definitely putting the Hellcat at the top of the list with the GX4 and the P365 and what I've tried so far. And like I said, got to try this M&P Shield Plus out next. But I'm impressed. I like it. If you guys want to get any of the products you see me using in the videos, like paper targets, steel targets, and more, links in the description. Thanks again to John for loaning the Hellcat today and letting me shoot on his range. Appreciate you guys stopping by and checking this one out, and I hope to catch you on the next one.